Hello there and happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday evening. I'm hopping in here real quick before I hop in the car to pick up my daughter from another practice, which is kind of what I do as a mom. So I wanted to share quickly today about how FND is not a garbage can diagnosis. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Julie Hirschberg. I'm a neurologic physical therapist. I am the owner and founder of Re+active Therapy and Wellness. It's a neuro rehab center here in the Los Angeles area. And I love learning and love sharing things with you all. So thanks for being here. By the way, if you've got questions, you can put them in the chat and I'll try to get to them. So let me tell you a little story of how I got to this conversation. This week, actually, I was talking to a group of clinicians about FND. And some people hadn't heard of it. And someone very innocently asked, is it just a garbage can diagnosis, like a catch-all phrase? And someone even commented on that today. And I said, no, it's actually not. And so then went on to share how exactly it's not a garbage can diagnosis. So I'm going to share with you a couple visuals for this. So let me start here. So I'm sharing some of the slides that we have from our FND mini course coming up. I also put these slides together in a way. Oh, Olivia's here. Olivia, isn't it your birthday? Oh my gosh, what are you doing here? It is Wednesday, right? Is today your birthday? Sorry, I'm going to say happy birthday to Olivia, who is joining us live. So these slides are actually from our FND mini course, which is next week. I'm so excited. I've been working on it so much. Also, I took these slides, not all of them, but I made a small PowerPoint with, I believe it's 14, the 14 most important slides. And we are giving the PowerPoint file away to the folks that sign up for our FND mini course by tomorrow. So we created a PowerPoint so people can do an in-service on FND to their colleagues, to their friends, to patients, to anybody who will listen about FND. So if you are interested in our FND course, sign up by tomorrow midnight and you will get an email with these slides in a PowerPoint format that you can use for your own presentations. So yes, students, I am giving you a free in-service right here with the slides. So actually it was PT students asking about FND and asking about doing an in-service that kind of inspired this free bonus that we have. One of the slides is what FND is not. What is FND not? It's not in your head. It's not crazy. It's not difficult people or patients. It's not made up. It's not conversion disorder. It's not purely psychogenic or a purely mental health disorder. It is not hysteria. And I added a new one on there because somebody asked about it. It is not a garbage can diagnosis. And that term, if you hadn't heard it before, is what people will kind of say about FND and other disorders when they feel like maybe a physician just kind of lumps somebody into FND when they don't understand what's actually going on. When some of the testing comes back negative, oh, it must just be FND. That's not how it works in FND. There's positive diagnostic features, there's positive clinical exam. And so I want to share a bit of this. This is also from our slides. What are those diagnostic criteria? So, oh my, well, we cannot read that. I wish I could like zoom it out. That's not going to be helpful. Let me try a different one here. That's a little bit better. Okay, so this is another one of our slides. So FND is based on positive clinical findings. A person should be diagnosed with FND when they meet the positive findings on clinical tests. And these tests have been tested for sensitivity and for specificity, and so that we can know that they are reliable. So the diagnostic signs, which I had on the other side, is it variable, entrainable, suppressible, and distractible? Does it meet some of those criteria? So in variability, we have specific clinical tests we can do. There's the entrainment test for tremor. There's the whack-a-mole sign. When we look at tremor or other movements, are there varying frequencies or directions? We also look at external focus, and some might call this distractibility too, but things like the Hoover signs, a change with dual task, an attention to the limb or the symptom increases the difficulty with the movement problem. And automatic goal-directed tasks help unlock normal movement. So this is that distractibility or change with an external focus part of the clinical exam. There are other clinical signs that help support these. So there's a pronator drift test, and if a person has drift without pronation, that can indicate FND. There's different types of weakness that we would see on manual muscle testing. There's co-contraction around the joint with manual muscle testing. There's delayed and excessive startle responses. There's particular patterns of gait that only occur in functional neurologic disorders, like walking on ice gait. There's very specific patterns of dystonia that only occur in functional dystonia, for example. So the list goes on and on. There are positive signs. Now, if a neurologist or another physician making the diagnosis is not informed on the positive signs, they may actually make a garbage can diagnosis like, I don't know what it is, it must be FND. That is not how it should be done. That is not how any neurologic disorder should be diagnosed. You have positive clinical signs and a positive clinical exam. One of the things that I love is to refer a patient to a neurologist that I know understands FND, that I know understands the positive signs. If somebody has a movement disorder, I want to refer them to a movement disorder neurologist. So this is a neurologist that is specialty trained in movement disorders. So they understand all the different types of dystonia, all the different types of tremor, of myoclonus, and so on. And so that they will do the expected testing, and they, again, a movement disorder neurologist that understands functional neurologic disorders. Now, I will say one of the reasons this came up today is because I shared the picture with our umbrella. So let me grab this. I think it's this one. Yeah. And again, this is a slide in our FND mini course, and also a slide in the in-service slides that I created that we are sending out free if you sign up by tomorrow night in our FND mini course. I created a PowerPoint just for you that you can download, you can change, you can do whatever you want, but you can use it for an in-service on FND. Those slides are yours. So in this particular slide, I talk about FND as an umbrella term. Notice it's not a garbage can there. It's an umbrella, meaning functional neurologic disorder is kind of the broad umbrella for different types of functional neurologic disorder. One of the most common that we see is functional movement disorder, FMD. That's common that a physical therapist would see that because there's movement difficulties. But I also spoke to a patient today that I thought, well, maybe they actually have that and 3PD, persistent perceptual postural dizziness, which is a type of functional neurologic disorder. It's functional dizziness, and it has distinct diagnostic criteria. So if somebody is dizzy, you wouldn't just say, oh, you have FND. You would actually sort out, is it 3PD? Is it something else? So I like the specificity of a diagnosis personally. So 3PD fits under there. Functional seizures fit under the umbrella. Complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS, fits under the umbrella. But again, CRPS also has distinct diagnostic criteria. Functional cognitive disorders also fit under this umbrella, and they also, we've been finding distinct diagnostic criteria. When I say we, not me personally, but like the research world who's doing research on functional cognitive disorders is finding biomarkers and predictors of this. So this is the umbrella term for functional neurologic disorder. We often see many components of this. We'll see functional tics with functional seizures, with dizziness, with pain, with tremor, with dystonia. So we might see all of the components of FND together. It's still not a garbage can. These disorders have common mechanism and common pathophysiology. The good news with that is that it's treatable, and neurorehabilitation really can help with the underlying mechanisms associated with all of these things in the FND umbrella. That is exactly why I run an FND program. I should actually say Chelsea Richardson is our FND program director here at Re+active, but we run a program, an intensive program for people with FND, because people can really get better. And again, I spoke with another parent today whose child has been doing therapy for 3 months with no change. And I had some diagnostic questions, to be honest. And that's because I'm always questioning somebody's diagnosis. And a person should be get better with therapy. And as Amy is saying, yes, they can. Yes, they can. And it takes working with somebody that really understands the diagnosis. So that's my message to clinicians. If you're new in FND or you're still learning about it, come to our course. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to do an update on the literature. If you feel stuck, if you're seeing that person for 3 months and they're not getting better, we may have some ideas for you. Because absolutely, as Amy said, a person can definitely get better. And part of that getting better is going back, again, let me go back here, is actually confirming that it is the diagnosis. I'm going to take a quick sip here. It has positive diagnostic signs. This is just a small sample of the positive diagnostic signs in functional neurologic disorders. There's very specific testing that can be done via EEG for functional seizures. There's physiologic testing that confirms functional tremor. And there are distinct patterns and presentations of dystonia that can confirm functional dystonia. And one of the things that we're going to talk about in the course is actually how often these overlap. So again, I was talking to a mom, her child today, and I think it seems like she fits all the positive diagnostic criteria for FND, but I think there's also something else. And so it's really, really important to do a very thorough neurologic screen, and not only confirm that there might be FND, but also look at, is there also idiopathic dystonia? Is there also vestibular migraine? That's a common one. In fact, migraine is one of the most common comorbid conditions in FND. So very, very important. We're going to talk about it in the course. Once again, the bottom line, FND is not a garbage can diagnosis. It's a diagnosis made on positive clinical findings. And if somebody is giving the diagnosis as like, well, we don't know, and so it must be FND, that's inaccurate. You should actually see somebody that can do positive clinical testing for FND. And that's how the diagnosis is made. I don't do that testing. I screen. I do a great screening exam, but that's a neurologist is doing that testing. And as someone shares here, my migraines with CRPS are terrible. Yes. So again, you bring home the point, and I'm so sorry that you're suffering with migraines and CRPS, but it's a very common, not one doesn't cause the other, but they're very commonly found together. And and in general, functional neurologic disorders are common alongside other neurologic disorders. Migraine's a neurologic disorder, and so it can make it more common to have something like CRPS or 3PD or functional seizures. But the good news, again, is both of those things, both migraine and CRPS, are very treatable as well. They take a team. They absolutely take a team. It's not a quick fix. There's not a one pill, but both are very treatable. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you all. I appreciate you caring and learning about these diagnoses and doing better for people with functional neurologic disorders. I'm going to run because I'm going to go pick up my daughter from practice. And I thank you again. And if you have questions about any of this, shoot me a direct message. I will try to get back to you. And again, if you're a clinician, our FND mini course is coming up next week. And we have a special bonus if you sign up for the course by tomorrow night. I'm going to send you completely done PowerPoint slides for an in-service. They even have notes in them. So I hope you'll join us. I cannot wait to do the course and see you in the course. And I hope you all have a good night. Thanks so much.